Well, we've been talking with people in China for a long time. I spend a lot of time going there, and our customers absolutely need this service. You know, we're committed to the full journey when they go traveling.
And let's just explain, for those who are uninitiated, Didi is the Uber, if you will, of China.
Absolutely, the leading ride-hailing business in China. So when our customers arrive in China, they need to figure out how they're going to get around on the ground. And Didi is the way to do it. And the way we've done this transaction is that we'll be able to use our app. So if people go onto Booking.com and are getting a hotel in China, when they show up, they can go to that same app, Booking.com, and they will be able to use the Didi service and be able to get a car to pick them up and take them where they want to go. They don't need to know Chinese at all, and they'll be able to do it.
And is the idea that you have people coming into different countries, in this case China, who don't necessarily have the Didi app on there? Is that
absolutely? They don't even know about Didi. How many people in the U.S., as you just pointed out, what is Didi? People in the U.S., they go to China, they don't know. Maybe they look for an Uber or a Lyft, and there's no Uber, there's no Lyft. What are they going to do? They use our service, Booking.com, or our Go-To service, and they will see right there, there's ground transportation right off the app. But there's even more to it. We're working with Didi. Didi has 550 million Chinese customers. We want them to be able to see Booking.com or Agoda. When they go traveling around the world or even in China, they need a place to stay. So we want to make sure that they're aware of our services, so it's going both ways.
Speak about the valuation of Didi in the context of speculation and expectations that Didi will soon go public.
There are expectations. There are a lot of companies in China are going public right now. You've seen a number of them come out recently, and there are a number that are in registration right now. The market is very attractive right now, so people, when they want to raise capital, they are going there. And there's no doubt that capital is needed for some of these services. Didi's expanding around the world. You know, they just went into Australia, they're in Mexico, they're in Brazil. They're going around the world.
Is this part of a strategic shift, though, for you to get into ride-hailing or other sort of end-to-end services across the board? And by the way, there's some strange bedfellows when you think about Didi. Didi owns a piece of Lyft. Uber, which gave up its business in China, has a major piece of Didi. Yeah. You're now involved.
Right.
What does this ultimately look like?
You know, it's interesting. There are complications all over the place. Look, we're invested in Ctrip, the biggest travel company in China. We're in China ourselves. We're in business with Meituan. Meituan is one of the bigger players who's also doing ride sharing now, testing it out. And now we've invested in Didi, also the biggest player in ride hail. We're not going to do ride sharing on ourselves. That's not the point. The point is to put up connections, networks, basically, so our customers can get the best services wherever they travel around the world.
The way you, the relationship, is it the relationship that the consumer has with you? It historically was that I went to you before I planned the trip, and then, apologies, I didn't think about you again. Yeah, I just went on the trip.
Yeah. We want you to think about us all the time. From the time you leave that house or that apartment at home, and you're going to have to get to that plane somehow or a train, we want to be able to help you get there. And then when you fly over and you land, we want to make sure you can get to the hotel. And even more, when you're in that city, we want to be able to provide attractions. That's why we bought Fair Harbor a few months ago, to make sure there are things to do when you're there.
Glenn, that makes sense to me. From visiting China, it's really complicated to try and figure out where you're going and make your way around. So I get it. But how many of your travelers are going to China? And if this is to really ease that, we shouldn't necessarily expect to see you teaming up with an Uber or Lyft here in the United States. Is this because it's so complicated there, or is this your ultimate game plan?
Well, actually, I think really, and you've noticed this, Becky, travel is a problem when there's a lot of friction. It's a pain trying to. We want to make it easier. We're using technology so wherever you go in the world, at any time, that you're able to do it easily off of our app. So we know your credit card, we know who you are, we know what you want, we make it all seamless, so all the payments and everything is just easier.
So that makes it sound like you will eventually be teaming up with an Uber or a Lyft in places like America.
We want to make sure that people have the best experience everywhere in the world, and whether that means partnering or however we're going to do it, we want to make sure that our customers find it easier than it used to be, because it's still hard.
Speak to it as an investment, though, and this goes back to the valuation issue, how you value these companies.
It's hard. Let's face it. A lot of companies growing very, very rapidly, losing a lot of money when you look at their income statement.
That's where I'm going with this. There's been a huge argument that Silicon Valley and others are effectively subsidizing all of our rides wherever we're going over the past couple of years.
Look, there's no doubt, and that's not just ride hailing. We see a lot of people who say, look, the money's coming out of the venture capital, out of the limited partners venture capital, give it over to the internet company who then hands it out as a subsidy to the drivers and to the riders and the car. We see that, we hear that. The fact is, somewhere down the road, these things are going to be very profitable, we believe, which is why we put $500 million into it. And I'll tell you, the costs are coming down. And the thing that we're not talking about, those autonomous vehicles, that will make that ride-hailing cost extremely low compared to it is now when you have actually a live human driving this stuff. And I think that's why a lot of people see the future with potential for much greater profits down the road.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.